Oh, another week, another time to sit down with your mucker, Francis Maxwell, to discuss the Premier League's action. So, Liverpool could win this thing. Chelsea actually could win this thing. Arsenal could definitely win this thing. Manchester City could win this thing. Let's not go that far. Manchester United. Unlucky, as Jose Mourinho is continuing to call them. But let's be fair. Manchester United are not unlucky. They're just unprepared. They went into the season once again assuming that it would be a quick fix, but it doesn't happen that way. So I'm going to focus on other teams instead with this, to really talk about the teams that I think are really in with a shout at the moment. It's fair to say to rule Manchester United out of their Premier League chances. But before we get to that, I think we need to do some congratulations in order. Come on, the Glasgow Celtic. That's one. Champions over Aberdeen, and say what you want. It's not competitive enough. You're always going to win it. Still doesn't take anything away to that. Yeah, that taste of success always tastes good, no matter where it is. Whether I'm winning a putting contest on the green or whether the Glasgow Celtic are beating Aberdeen 3-0 at Hampden, still tastes good. And I was happy to see pictures from my dad, as I'll throw up probably in some posts. No, I won't, because I'm not editing this clip. Maybe I'll show up at another time where he's hanging out with Brendan Rodgers after the game, so good for him. I'm sure Brendan was talking to him about character and stuff like that. Oh well, I'll make the jokes for you, lads, don't worry. Either way, to the Premier League. So the first team to discuss is Liverpool, playing against Sunderland. I didn't think they were as sharp as what they have been in the past, but champions win the way they won against Sunderland. It seemed like it could have been one of those games, very similar to what we've seen with Manchester United in the past, where they hammer. Like, Liverpool were all over Sunderland in the first half, several chances. Sunderland had a good chance himself, but a great save by Karius and goals. And then they just continued to do what has been working for them, moving the ball quickly, and Origi, great turn and bent it into the far corner, giving them that needed one-goal lead. And then Sadio Mane. I don't know what else we can say about this guy. Here's my words. Eating them. That was great acting. Eating my words from what I said at the start of the season. Not because I didn't think that he was a great player, just because I thought that Liverpool were recreating the same old mistakes where they go and they buy players who are talented in the Premier League for a low-level team, shining, being the big fish in that small pond, but then they move over to a larger pond, bigger expectations, and sometimes they flatter to deceive. Not Sadio Mane, not so far this season. He's been phenomenal for Liverpool at the moment, and he wins the penalty kick, and James Milner goes in and goes, yes! Let's be safe. Let's celebrate this win. Good old boy, James Milner. Love that Twitter account. But either way, 2-0 win for Liverpool. So, yes, can they win this competition? They've got the easiest run of fixtures going into Christmas, which can prove to be crucial for them maybe gaining a little bit of an advantage, still sitting behind Chelsea at the moment. But as we look at the Premier League fixtures, yes, I'm doing this all live, so you can just bear with me. So next up for them is a crucial game to watch out for, which is Manchester City versus Chelsea. But Liverpool will be facing Bournemouth, and then as they can close towards Christmas, they have West Ham at home, which is not going to be an easy game, but I still fancy them to win that. And this is why I said that Liverpool have a great chance, because they're running to Christmas, which, as I mentioned, vital point, is not anywhere near as difficult as some of the other teams that are facing there. They have Middlesbrough, and as we go close to the Christmas break, they have obviously the Scouse game against Everton, which is a tough one, on the 19th, and then they play on Boxing Day. They play on Tuesday, December 27th against Stoke. So, in comparison with what we're seeing with Chelsea, who are the other team that we're going to focus on in this clip, as well as I'll maybe briefly talk about Man City, but we know they're contenders. But two teams that came into this season not expected to be as firmly within the race at this point as others like Arsenal, who deserve a mention as well. Of course, another great win for them. But I think those four teams can definitely battle out, and it's going to be a memorable Premier League season. I can honestly say I think that things will pan out in an exciting fashion as we go forward. I think all these teams have the fundamentals to continue to be neck and neck and compete. Manchester City won like a champion again this weekend, but what I mean by that is not going in, playing brilliant, demolishing teams, walking away, having a cigar. It's facing the adversity of the Premier League head on and taking goals as they come. Kun Aguero scored 2 goals that honestly were some of the worst goals I've ever seen in my life. Burnley just could not defend. The ball bounced off of Sergio Aguero for his second goal. But Guardiola's not going to care about that. That's how you win those games. So Manchester City, of course, are going to be there or thereabouts. But next week is a game that we're going to look at, because that is going to be a telling game as for how things will pan out. Because Chelsea have just proven once again that they more than any of the teams in the league at the moment, can face adversity, because they went 1-0 down against Tottenham. A team that, yes, are on shaky ground at the moment, but Tottenham looked like a different team in that first half. They were all over Chelsea. They were easily the most dominant team. And everyone's thinking, this Tottenham team could easily take points away from Stamford Bridge. They could easily be a thorn in Antonio Conte's side, scoring the first goal in 600 minutes against Chelsea, proving that there is a way past this 3-4-3, which we all knew, but we just had to see. Eriksen with a great strike, but they outclassed Chelsea tactically, imposed a question to Antonio Conte, and there's no one that loves questions more than Antonio Conte. I could just imagine him being the student in the class. Yep, I'm ready, because he loves to be asked these questions. He was asked a question by Arsenal. They gave him an answer that he maybe didn't expect, where they devoured them. There you go, there's the devoured in there. Who was searching for it? Back at the Emirates earlier in the season. And since then, Chelsea have really had to look at themselves. Are we contenders? We're not playing in Europe. Are we in for a top four? And I think that Antonio Conte is being a little humble. He knows that they're in the running, but he just likes to say that they have a long way to go, which they do. Tottenham proved that you can score on this Chelsea team. You can prove how vulnerable they are. But then what do? Again, sticking to the game plan, just tightening things up in the middle of the park. Because when Dembele, Wanyama and Eriksen and Dele Alli, they worked so well to kind of outnumber Chelsea in the middle of the park. Flood numbers forward proved to be a problem to this Chelsea midfield that have just kind of coasted by the last few games. And then the second half, Antonio Conte goes in. Pedro gives them a lease of life with a great turn, probably the fastest Cruyff turn I've ever seen in my life, and then just bends it into the corner. And then you can rely on talent such as Diego Costa, who had a poor first half, showing things that his manager needs to see in vital moments, because this is a Diego Costa at this point, I think, under Jose Mourinho last year, would have probably called it quits and kicked someone after half-time when things isn't going his way. But this manager has belief in his players, and they have belief in him. And Diego Costa surges to the line, cuts it back, and who else to score a goal as a symbol of what Antonio Conte means to this team than Victor Moses, a man who's been cast aside by the Liverpools of the world, by Chelsea about 8 different times. And he comes in, slots home, yes, a very lucky goal, bouncing all over like a pinball before it goes in. But he made that run. He's confident. He's playing well. He's tracking back. He's doing all of his necessary tasks very well. That's all you can ask for players at this point as well. Because Chelsea are not going to win this thing glamorously. Hazard is all the glamour they really need. He is a spectacular player again this season. There's no getting around that. But they've got players in there, again, wanting to fight for the jersey. They're all encompassing what N'Golo Kante means coming in. Covering the grass, putting in the tackles, doing the shift. They don't need to be this glamorous team, and that's why I think they're definitely favourites, in my view, to be right there or thereabouts. I'm not saying they're going to take over Man City, who I still think, as I've said from the first day, will get it together. Guardiola's past examples have shown that he knows what it takes to win domestic titles. Will the Champions League come in and maybe cloud some of the focus that should be put on the Premier League? Who knows? I'm not going to say that, but there's one thing that journalists and media outlets like to do is jump the gun. I'm jumping that gun. I think that it will be a 3 to 4 horse race, and that's not jumping any gun, that's just basically stating the obvious. I think that it's between Man City, Chelsea, Arsenal and Liverpool, and it's going to be great to see how they battle out. So let's talk about Arsenal briefly. We've seen them in action during the week in the Champions League, proving that they yet again can mix it with the best in the world. PSG, who've been in a great run of form since their hesitant start. They should have won that game, I thought they were a better team. But they come into this Premier League weekend again, probably tired. Still consistently, Arsene Wenger wants them to play at a high level, even though they'd already qualified. And you can only attribute that to great management. And they come up against Bournemouth, a team who, again, are going to cause problems. But Arsenal answer these questions. They prove that this November myth, that winter is coming where they don't gather as many points, is just something that can be just cast away. It's ridiculous. They didn't play well against Manchester United, but they got away with a draw. That's something that, yeah, some of them would have been disappointed. It seems like it's points lost. Usually in the past, going to Old Trafford and taking a point is a great result, but not this Arsenal team, because they want to win every game. And I think that they can. They've got the ability to do it. So with their fixtures coming up, it's going to prove, I think their toughest task is going to be in the next couple of weeks, where they have to face West Ham next, and then I think they've got Stoke, then Everton. So Everton away is going to be a hard task against Ronald Koeman's side. So I think that Arsenal don't have as tough a few running of games as Manchester City and Chelsea both do, but they can take advantage. And maybe going to Christmas, I think it could be Liverpool, Arsenal, Man City, Chelsea, or Liverpool, Arsenal, Chelsea, Man City. I think that's the way it could go. And then who knows after that? I mean, give me a couple of beers on New Year's Eve and I'll probably say that Manchester United might be back in with a chance, because that's just the way this Premier League goes. We know that it has its ups and downs, but at the moment, it's great to watch Liverpool be confident. It's great to watch the Kop believing in their team and thinking that they could potentially cause an upset this season, because it would be an upset. And it's great to see the Premier League be as exciting as always. So those are my thoughts. Give me yours in the comments. Start a conversation. Keep it going with me. It's been a little bit of a long, I think, 10 minutes? Jesus Christ, I can gabble on. But Celtic win. That's all that matters. Catch you.